Historical Society exists to uncover, preserve, and present in engaging ways the colorful and diverse history of our city from its earliest days to the present. As a member, you'll receive The Argonaut, an award-winning publication that has provided in-depth historical accounts for over 30 years. And The Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. An Odyssey station. It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
It is the Pregame Show. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you're just getting off work, getting ready for the day, school, whatever, appreciate you choosing me and choosing this program. Remember, it's all about you. The number, 888-957-9570 to call or text. And we got playoff football approaching. It's all been set. The stage is set now. And the Niners get to kick their feet back and relax a little bit here. Tough loss yesterday for the Sam Darnold truthers out there. Whew, tough. But that's why he's a backup, folks. And God bless Mark Schlereth, who was on the call with Adam Amin via Fox yesterday, as the Los Angeles Rams get the dub over the San Francisco 49ers, 21-20. And Sam Darnold had a chance. Jake Moody had a chance to redeem himself. And we'll get to that guy in a minute, because the biggest story coming out of yesterday's loss, it wasn't a huge concern on the injury front. But Jake Moody, yikes. You picked the worst time for fans to stop trusting you. We hadn't heard his name since what, Cleveland? Minnesota? During a 3-game losing streak? And now all of a sudden, I'm worried about my rookie kicker's psyche heading into the offs. But 21-20, Sam Darnold, as I was alluding to, Mark Schlereth was saying, wow, just, it was great decision. It was all day great decision-making from Sam Darnold until it wasn't. And that's what we've come to expect in his career so far. And that's why he's now going to be a backup for the most part. Maybe he gets an opportunity next year, because there's going to be some job openings, and it is Black Monday here in the NFL. And it's not Black Friday. They're not deals galore. No. Heads are going to be rolling in the NFL. We already saw one, was that 5-6 hours ago? I was asleep when it happened. Arthur Smith, gone from Hotlanta. Who's going to join him? We'll see. Who should join him? There's a couple names out there. Ron Rivera amongst them, I'm sure. Not a great year in Washington. McDaniels already gone. Frank Reich already gone. Am I missing anyone? Sure, we'll get there. We also had some basketball yesterday. Oh. 133-118. The Raptors take out the Golden State Warriors. Warriors back to 2 games under 500. And listen, I was watching the game off and on, and as well as the Buffalo and Miami Dolphins. Buffalo gets that job done. 4th straight AFC East title. Josh Allen, I seem to have lit a fire under him, by the way. After I called him out and saying I'd take Brock Purdy over him, he took that personally. So I'm actually going to take credit for the Bills' success thus far. And if they go all the way to the Super Bowl, I'm going to take credit for that too. I lit a fire under Josh Allen. Go get him, Josh. I'm going to keep doubting you. Keep proving me wrong, buddy. But the Raptors come in here after making major changes. No Giannonobi anymore. Who needs him when you got R.J. Barrett? 37 points. Are you kidding me? And you had hot as hell Klay Thompson get you back into that game in the third quarter. Then you inexplicably take him out. And then it just gets blown out again in the fourth. You trim it all the way down. Then you get to single digits at one point. Maybe 10. Doesn't matter. You do all that hard work, get back into the game, have a 38-25 third quarter. Then you lose the fourth, 32-31. Then you lose the game, 11-10 at home, and they wrap up this homestand against New Orleans here in 2 days. So it's going to be a mixed bag today. Could be Warriors, could be Niners. I don't think a lot of us want to really break down the game that was yesterday. Puka Nacua breaking records for the Rams. All-time rookie receptions leader, all-time rookie receiving yards record now. Puka Nacua, the holder. I get it. They were mentioning on the broadcast too. 17 games. And it's like, it's what it is, though. So we can get here and scoff at it or just appreciate it was a hell of a season for Puka Nacua. And that Rams team is going to give the Detroit Lions next week a whole hell of a lot to think about. And the Lions, by the way, major loss for them. Sam Laporta, bone bruise, their star rookie tight end, who was making records of his own. I think he had the rookie receptions leader for tight ends in NFL history, too. So, tough loss there. If he cannot go next week, I don't think a bone bruise, those are tough to go through. Tight ends are tough SOBs, but man, a lot of his game obviously predicated on strength. He's got a little bit of speed. That's tough. That's tough. But as far as the names go, I mean, can you have written a better script for that? Matt Stafford? Going back where it all started in Detroit? Detroit's first home playoff game in what? I don't even know when. So, 30 years since they've won a division, right? So, since 1993, since I was born. You kidding me? Like, you cannot write a better script there. So, we'll break down all the little playoff matchups. As, again, the Niners, they got the week off. They're chilling. Ravens, they got the week off. They're chilling. What's hitting you guys today? That's what I want to know from the audience. What's hitting you the most? Because for me, it was that Warriors loss. I know it's a Monster Monday brought to you by First 5 California. Visit first5california.com to learn 4 things that you could do to overcome toxic stress. The 5th thing to overcome toxic stress is probably not, watch the Warriors right now. And I don't think I've talked to this audience since the Jonathan Kuminga, losing of faith in Steve Kerr. Now, that's from his camp, so listen, he didn't say it himself, but the camp leaked that to Shams Charania of The Athletic, to Anthony Slater, R95.7 The Game insider, also via The Athletic. So his camp basically saying, benching me in that game against the Nuggets for, the end of the third quarter and the entire fourth, that was the last straw. Now, you're seeing Kuminga playing with his hair on fire. And yesterday, you actually had a Wiggins and Siakam. Wiggins and Kuminga starting lineup. Pascal Siakam, by the way, should be on the Warriors' radar. Mike Dunleavy, general manager of the Warriors, and Masai Ujiri of the Toronto Raptors, mingling yesterday. Make of that what you will. But Kuminga, 5 of 13. Not his greatest shooting night. But the assists were there, which is encouraging. That's what I want to keep seeing from the young guys, especially Kuminga. The assist totals go up, the rebound totals go up, because the points, they'll be there. He had 13 yesterday. It wasn't his greatest shooting night, but I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the playmaking, the handle, that sort of stuff. Wiggins, I mean, are you kidding me? He gets the starting nod. This is what he wanted. This is what he wanted, right? And he goes out there and has 1 of 6 for 3 points. a game worst minus 29. I mean, get this guy out of here if he doesn't want to be here. This is horrible. What's his game logs at now? Has he even hit double digits? 3 points, 3 points, 11 points. His last 3 games. That's embarrassing for a guy making that much money. Let alone your second best player on a championship run just a couple seasons ago. That was embarrassing. If he doesn't want to be here, get him off the team. I'm not even seeing the effort out there. And that's the troubling part. The effort. Non-existent. Doesn't care. Ugh. And I'm not usually one to call out that, but when I see it, when it's palpable from my couch, when my 4-year-old can see it, Daddy, who's that guy Andrew Wiggins? Why isn't he hustling? I don't know, son. I don't know. Might just be something in his brain. Something. Maybe he needs a change of scenery. I know the Warriors desperately need it from him. He needs to go in a big way. If you think I'm wrong, 888-957-9570. Let's go out to Nick, who's out in San Jose and wants to join in on the conversation. Thank you, Big John, for screening the call. I appreciate it. Helps a lot. Nick, what's going on, man? You're on 95.7 The Game. Johnny, can you pot it up for me real quick? Thank you. Sorry about that. What's up, Nick?
Hey, how you doing, brother? Good talking there early this morning. 2 quick things. I'm resigned to the fact that Andrew Wiggins, and I hate to say this, is a dog, man. He's a DOG, and not in the sense of a pit bull fighting and stuff. He just doesn't give any effort. He floats out there. And his body language, he just doesn't seem to care. And, we can't play the guy. So that's number one. But then on a positive note, I know you bleed silver and black like me, man. And I know I'm just so proud of AP yesterday. And I know we've been beaten down since the Super Bowl loss in San Diego. But I really think they should bring this guy back. And they play for him. And it was just so nice to see them win 3 out of the last 4. What do you think about AP? I mean, should we get Harbaugh or give AP a chance and learn from the Bisaccia mistake of not bringing him back? I'd love your thoughts on both of those things.
Appreciate you calling in, Nick. No, I appreciate that. Nick he's up for a Doobie of Rookie of the Year for the Doobie Awards, rookie caller for the Morning Row. So I am honored that Nick in San Jose joined the show. 888-957-9570. The phone lines are open, baby. Nick knows. Okay. Antonio Pierce took over for Josh McDaniels. Obviously, former linebacker, you know more as, with the New York Giants being part of those Super Bowl teams, specifically the one that upset the New England Patriots back in 2007, what was going on in an undefeated season. Takes over. He's had coaching, in his background with Arizona State, also at the head coaching level via high school. So he's had some knowledge here in the last decade. Takes over. Patrick Graham remains the DC. You got Bo Hardigree taking over the offensive coordinator. And they go 5-4. That's a hell of a job. They're 8-9. That win against Kansas City felt like, okay, there's something here. Because, if you lose to Kansas City on Christmas, everyone's watching. Then you lose to the Colts. It's like, all right, it's fine. But we need a guy that can actually win the big games, right? And the Colts one was a big game. And he played tight. He coached tight, I should say. And they lost in a winnable game. But it's palpable what you see from that locker room. When guys like Devontae Adams, who is their biggest star without a doubt on the offensive side, says, this is the best I've ever felt about a team, when we didn't qualify for a playoffs. Like, the vibes are amazing in this locker room right now. And we're not going to the playoffs. But you know what? It feels like that's okay. Not to say that's okay, but we want this guy. We believe in this guy. So when that's one star on the offensive end, then you got Max Crosby on the other side, an all-pro caliber, a DPOY caliber type of player saying, yeah, we love this guy. I mean, the tape speaks for itself. The defense has been night and day since he's taken over. The turnovers have been cut. The penalties have been cut. I think I read this right. This is the first time in Raiders franchise history they've had 2 games in a given season where they didn't commit any penalties. That's unbelievable. And that's a testament to coaching. Great coaching. The question I have for Antonio Pierce and the Raiders, as it is Black Monday around the NFL, so all the news, all that, we'll be breaking it down on the pregame show, on the morning roast. Any breaking news in regards to coaching, Arthur Smith of the Atlanta Falcons, already gone. I would expect Ron Rivera to be gone from there. New ownership in Washington. They want to make a big splash. They're looking at bigger and brighter things. They got the number 2 overall pick. Are they going to get Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., who, by the way, is playing tonight? Tough L for your Longhorns last week, Johnny boy. I haven't seen you since then. Sorry. It's very tough. Is what it is at the end of the day. Quinn Ewers, so out on that guy. So out on him. Right? Thumbs down on him right in that performance. Oh, thumbs up. Get out of here. I'm talking to you. Alex is in Atlanta. I'm going to talk to him in just a second. But the one question I have for Antonio Pierce is, can he build and bring in an elite staff? I don't know if he's going to retain all these guys that are with him right now. Mark Davis has said, you know what? You guys are free to interview everywhere else. Is that a sign that he's going to move in another direction? No, I think that's just what you do in this scenario. Mark Davis still has to, live up to league standards here and interview and, utilize that Rooney rule. He has to do that. So he has to go out and interview other people, other minority candidates, and also, do his due diligence. That's the only thing you can do. But outside of Jim Harbaugh, to Nick and San Jose's point, I think you roll with AP. The only reason I bring Jim Harbaugh in, and he's the number 1 on my list, if I'm a Raider fan, and I am, because he's won at every single level he's been at an elite level. I mean, guy's going for a championship at Michigan. He's been to a Super Bowl with the 49ers. He won at Stanford. He was with the Raiders in the early 2000s. His first NFL coaching gig was on John Gruden's staff. So he's proven it. And he's proven to bring in guys around him as well. Whether it's Vic Fangio, it was Greg Roman at a time. You're seeing it now in Michigan. He can build a staff around him. I'm not so sure Antonio Pierce can do that. I'm not saying he can't do that. I feel more comfortable with Jim Harbaugh, but it's a very tricky situation when it comes down to Antonio Pierce and his love of the locker room. And they had that with Rich Bisaccia a couple years ago. They flipped that. They brought on Josh McDaniels. And the Rich Bisaccia one was a little different because Rich Bisaccia was an older guy. He was a special teams guy. Didn't really have an imprint on the offense or the defense. Those ones are a little trickier. Not saying he didn't deserve a legit look. And obviously, in hindsight, probably should have gotten the job over McDaniels, who was just an absolute dumpster fire, one of the worst head coaches in NFL history. Don't even get me started on that jackass. Guy's horrible. But Antonio Pierce deserves a hell of a lot of credit for what he has done with this franchise, with this team, everything. By the way, one of the storylines coming out of that game yesterday, the turf I saw at Allegiant, turf, grass. It is grass. It's not, the fake turf anymore. They do have legit grass that they grow, but the end zones were had like sand pits in them, and so it was a horrible look as the Super Bowl's there in now a month. It gave me Levi Stadium vibes. Remember how bad Levi's was with their grass early on, opening there? It took them, years and years till they finally got that right. I don't know what seed, Kentucky bluegrass, whatever the hell they're growing over there. I'm not a grass man. You can cut that. But nonetheless, I'll take the crabby crabgrass over any AstroTurf any day of the week. Because they have that opportunity to do that. They have one of those, dual things where they can bring out one tray, bring in the other. They do that because they have the UNLV games over at Allegiant. So, is what it is there. That's my 2 cents on the Raiders coaching search. I'd go with Harbaugh if Harbaugh is interested, but I can't fault, Raider fans and a lot of them for wanting Antonio Pierce, the job he has done. He'd be my 1B candidate going forward. Back to the Warriors here. That was my little rant. Hey, call in for any team. I'll give a rant here on the pregame show. It's all about y'alls and your calls, as a former host here at the station once said. 888-957-9570. And good morning to all of you lovely people on Twitch and YouTube. Mike Snow thinks this would be Ben Johnson, the OC out of Detroit. We'll see. I guess David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, is very interested in Ben Johnson, so much so he wants to give him a blank check. That's according to reports. So Ben Johnson might be headed out to Carolina, but that's a dumpster fire in and of itself. They don't have a first-round pick. They got Bryce Young. They don't got any talent around him. Yikes. They are horrible, by the way. Did you watch some of those games yesterday? Because Niner fans mostly were kicking up their feet. Yeah, you can watch Sam Darnold, but there was a lot going on. There's a lot of bad football. A lot of bad football, especially in the NFC. I mean, the Eagles, talk about limping into the playoffs. Talk about your wings getting clipped if you're the Eagles. They're hobbling, man. They're like one of those birds you see fly into the window, a la The Office, and then are just all dazed and confused. That's what the Eagles are right now. They flew into a window and have not recovered. Yikes. Obrin, V, KM Johnson, my family, Alex in Atlanta. What's going on, man? You're on 95.7 The Game. You're also on Twitch and YouTube. What's going on, Alex?
Hey, Joe. Thanks for taking my call this morning. I appreciate it. Look, I think especially after the loss last night, over the last couple of months, I think Warriors have kind of moved in the direction where they're taking the approach to this inflection point where they have to decide whether they want to.
Alex, real quick, Alex, I'm going to put you on hold because your connection's really bad. Give us a call back real quick because that was just not great. It sounded like he was on a Bluetooth. Sometimes that happens. The Bluetooth or the Apple Pods and stuff like that. Not my favorite. I don't have any of the Bluetooth stuff. I was never a big Bluetooth headset guy. Big Bluetooth. Say that 10 times fast. Not my bag, man, I would say. But I think he was getting at the Warriors here and back to the Warriors. And again, it's a potpourri here. We can do everything. Raptors 133, Warriors 118, Rams 21, Niners 20. It's a mixed bag here, if you will. The only concern I have out of that Niners game, outside of Brock Purdy potentially getting hurt and Sam Darnold having to be your backup, I don't feel great about that because of the turnover factor. The game on the line there, he coughed it up. But Jake Moody, missed field goal. We had a doink in there. I mean, the extra points now I got to worry about with this guy. All right, we got Alex back. What's going on, Alex?
Hey, connection any better?
Much better. Thank you, sir.
All right, no problem, man. I apologize for that. But yeah, look, I think right now with the Warriors, I think they're at a major inflection point where you either try to draw out this dynasty thing for as long as you possibly can and just keep kicking the can down the road on, resetting and trying to reload the roster, or you make major overhaul decisions over the summer. I think right now, as much as people probably don't want to hear this, there's not a trade out there that's going to turn this team back into a contender. There's probably not two trades out there that turns this team back into a contender.
You don't think, real quick, Alex, you don't think Siakam, a lot of fans are thinking, hey, if we get Pascal Siakam, whether it's Wiggins and Moody and I don't know, it's a pick or something, you don't think that changes things?
Well, not really, no, because, while Siakam's great, he's an all-star caliber player, you're going to have to give up not only Wiggins to get him, but also another depth piece. So you're going to be sacrificing depth to bring in one player. I don't think he addresses a lot of the issues the team has, which is, poor perimeter defense. They don't have a definitive second scorer behind Steph, and I don't think Siakam really addresses that problem. And I don't think that, he's going to be a free agent this summer anyway. So you're just kind of kicking the can down the road with him. I don't think there's a realistic expectation that he'd re-sign here over the offseason once you acquire him. I think that, they're in a situation right now where I think the realistic expectation is they do move Wiggins at the deadline. And if Paul's able to be moved at the deadline, they move him as well. But they do that mainly to clear off space on the salary cap coming into the offseason. So that's when they can make their major adjustments. I think that everybody not named Steph Curry is on the table to be moved on from. I do think this is Kerr's last year, so I think he's going to be moved on from in the offseason. But look, you're at a point where you're in danger of becoming like a lot of dynasties from the past. And they give me big Detroit Red Wings vibes right now from the 2010s, where they tried to hang on to that dynasty for a bit too long, kept kicking the rebuild down the road, and ultimately led to the point where they've been in a playoff drought for 8 years. And I don't want to see that for the Golden State Warriors, but I really do think that they're in danger of becoming that type of team. They've got to make major overhauls over the offseason. I think that does potentially include moving on from Draymond, if not also Klay, unless you can get Klay to take a really team-friendly deal. If you want to get Steph one more ring, it's going to be a drastically different-looking team moving forward.
That's Alex in Atlanta. I appreciate the call. 888-957-9570. We got some heavy hitters here on the pregame show. I'm poaching them from the roast. It's all right. They can call back. Nahegan's not listening at 5:24 a.m. on a Monster Monday. Should be, though. We're doing numbers here. I set the tone for this station, Matt. All right? Never said if it was positive or negative. I set a tone, though. I do that. Steve Kerr, talking about setting a tone and starting Kuminga and Wiggins together.
Well, we've talked about trying to get them together. Theoretically, our two longest, most athletic players. So we have not been a good defensive team this year. So we've wanted to try it. It hasn't, connected really. It hasn't been good for all season, but we're experimenting. We've Gary out, Draymond out. We're trying to find a two-way lineup that can help us. But obviously that lineup didn't click.
No. Hasn't really clicked all season. You got two guys, not the greatest at, dishing it out with the assist numbers, not the greatest with their handles, getting off the dribble. And one of them, Andrew Wiggins, is floating. I know what I'm getting from Kuminga. I'm getting the effort. At the very least, I know I'm getting that from him. Wiggins? Again, minus 29 in the plus-minus category. It's not the end-all, be-all. But sometimes, in situations like this, it does say a lot. 17 minutes out of the starting lineup, 1 of 6. 3 points? 3? At least Klay Thompson shoots himself out of these things. That's the one thing, and we like to crush Klay, who actually had a hell of a game last night, and Steve Kerr took him out when he was in Fuego. 10 of 15, 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. A team-high 25 points. And we'll get into Steph Curry's game. Yikes. He's starting to feel the effects about carrying this team. Another game without a three-pointer for Stephen Curry. But at least with Klay Thompson and his struggles, he's going to go out there and shoot. He's got to. He's one of the greatest shooters in the game, and he knows in order to find himself, that's all he can keep doing. It's actually a good life lesson. Just keep shooting. You'll start making some eventually. All right? And it can be very easy to get discouraged and to just give up shooting. That's what he seems from 6 attempts from Wiggins. 6? I need more from you. If the Warriors are paying him that much money, and if he is supposed to be a vital cog of this team, of a championship team, I'm going to need more from Andrew Wiggins than 6 freaking shots. I can tell you that right now. 888-957-9570. We'll pick this conversation up on the other side. Raptors 133, Warriors 118. It's a Monster Monday. Any NFL talk you want is here as well. Rams 21, Niners 20. As the Niners finish off this season at 12-5, they've got the number 1 seed locked up. They're chilling, and they await the carnage of this next week. We can take a dive into the playoff matchups. I already mentioned one of them. Matt Stafford and the Rams heading over to Detroit. Hey, script writes itself there. 888-957-9570. It's the pregame show. Joe Spadoni. Come on back. 95.7 The Game.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
Dub Nation, this is Tim Roy, and you're listening to the Pregame Show on 95.7 The Game.
It's the Pregame Show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. We got some breaking news here, folks. I'm not going to play the sounder because I don't have one that fades out automatically, as I'm solo dolo here. ESPN reporting with Adrian Wojnarowski. In a sweeping overhaul, Commanders owner Josh Harris has hired two prominent executives. Former Warriors GM Bob Myers and former Vikings GM Rick Spielman to assist his group in searches for a new head of football operations and coach. So Bob Myers now is going to be assisting the Washington Commanders in their new head coach and general manager search. Bob Myers, now in the NFL? What? That's crazy. I did not see that coming. I mean, Bob Myers goes to the NFL. Okay. Part of the Commanders. Part of Magic Johnson's group, too. Josh Harris, Magic Johnson, part of the ownership group. Interesting. I don't know what to make of that. I know it's Sports Talk Radio. Hey, Spadoni, have a take. What's your take here? I mean, Bob Myers is doing the NFL now, I guess. When it comes to, the general manager part of it, I understand. Because he can look that as an X's and O's kind of a way. Stock up, stock down. That kind of translates more to me. The general manager aspect of major sports, whether it's NBA, whether it's Major League Baseball, a little different there. They're all different, obviously. NFL, all that. Contracts, how all that works. Whether to, scouting certain attributes of a player, you can kind of look at that through a multi-sport lens, if you will. But what makes a good GM? What makes a great president of operations, right? I think Bob Myers could help with that. He's very smart. He is very emotionally intelligent. So when it comes to the interview process, I would love to have a guy like a Bob Myers with me during all of that. I think he can have a great feel for, who Josh Harris and co. want leading their franchise into this next chapter. And let's be honest, this is a huge next chapter for the Washington Commanders. I like when they call them Washington football team, but is what it is. Massive. They've been a dumpster fire for 2 decades under Dan Snyder. They have been, dare I say, the worst run organization in sports the last 2 decades. I know they've had some playoff runs in there. And I know we've had some horrible, horrible owners and teams. Don't have to ask me. I'm a Raider fan. A lot of Kings fans. Some may be listening. A's fans. But I think Dan Snyder takes the cake. So they got a clean slate now in Washington. He's gone. That mess is gone. They're trying to get a new stadium too. So they're all in. Are they going to get Caleb Williams? Are they going to get Drake May? Are they going to get Penix, Jaden Daniels, whoever they're going to get? Is going to be that new next face alongside, whoever that Bob Myers and Rick Spielman now are going to go after. This is fascinating. I did not see this one coming. This is a curveball I was not ready for. Again, if you're just joining us via Adrian Wojnarowski and Adam Schefter, both reporting this for ESPN, in a sweeping overhaul, Commanders owner Josh Harris has hired 2 prominent executives, former Warriors GM Bob Myers and former Vikings GM Rick Spielman, to assist his group in searches for a new head of football operations and coach. What do y'all think about that? 888-957-9570. Morali on the chat. He's a legend here in the chat. Bob Myers' news does not surprise me. But the SF Giants should have hired him. He would have done a better job than Farhan Zaidi. Probably. Bob Myers, I'll say this. His best attribute, if you were just to ask someone, a Warriors fan, anyone here at the station, what is Bob Myers' number one attribute? It's his ability to connect with people. And not even close. You heard that in the interviews, whenever he speaks on air, whenever he's broadcasting for ESPN, he can connect with people on a human level. Like, not a lot of GMs can. A lot of GMs talk, it says, it just goes one ear and out the other. I don't really give a damn what they're trying to say. I don't believe in half what they're saying. And I believe Bob some of the time. Not all the time, but some of it. And he was great in that role. And that's why Joe Lacob didn't want him to go. Bob Myers also wanted to leave because he didn't want to have to deal with what's going on right now. Again, the Raptors 133, Warriors 118. The mess that is the Golden State Warriors right now. 17-19 on the season. They're at a crossroads. Trade deadline approaching. Are we now officially a month away? I think we are. I think it's February 8th, right? Deadline. Yep, Thursday, February 8th. What's going to go on with the Warriors, man? What's Mike Dunleavy, the successor to Bob Myers, going to do with this squad? Very interested to see that. Very interested. Here's Kerr talking about, switching the lineup up, As Draymond Green, by the way, bearing the lead here, returning to practice. His suspension's now up. The league said he's fulfilled his obligations. Did I just combine obligations and duties and I said obliguties? That's a gooism right there, and a low nihilism on the pregame show. That might be my best work. Obliguties. But he's fulfilled them. After 12 games, the league they seem to think that Draymond's fine. He's good. How happy are you about this Warriors fan that Draymond Green's going to return to the sidelines? He's going to return. He's ramping up. He's going to be back with the team. As if the team didn't have enough problems right now. We're going to add Draymond Green back into the fold, and I'm sure it's going to upset someone down the line. And it's just, good luck, Steve. Here he is talking about the lineup changes.
Well, I didn't want to go back to the same lineup. The only thing I was interested in the second half was just competing. You know, what that means. You can say compete, but, you know, what does that mean? It means talking on defense. I didn't hear anything. It was silent in the first half. We needed to have some talk, some chatter, some connection. And so I went with that lineup because I felt like they would give us that, and they did. They got us off to a good start. And as I said, we made a pretty good run in the third, but obviously wasn't enough.
And more from Kerr from the lineup talk.
There's a reason I stayed with that first five for 25 games or so, because it's really hard to find combinations that click. And I felt great coming into the season about that lineup. It's the best lineup in the league last 2 years. And then coming off the bench with Chris and Dario and some of our younger players with those guys, it looked on paper like that was going to be the way we would go. You know, once we went away from that first group, which we had to based on suspensions and injuries and you know, poor play, we've been kind of in search mode ever since, and so we're still searching.
Still searching. That could be the title of this Warriors year, and maybe the end of the dynasty. Still searching. 888-957-9570. We're still searching for more of your phone calls and text. The Comcast Business text line is always open, as well as Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Search 95.7 The Game. Like and subscribe there. We are streaming all day long right here on 95.7 The Game on this Monster Monday, 5 a.m. through 7 p.m. Starts with Spadoni, ends with Grandy. You got the morning roast in between. Steiny, Goo, Willard, and Dibbs. We're locked and loaded all day here on 95.7 The Game. Your home of Golden State Warriors basketball. More of that on the other side. Plus more Niner talk around the league. Bob Myers goes to the NFL? Crazy on 95.7 The Game.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine.
a great future. Become a member today.
Now, back to the pregame show on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Pre-game show, Joe Spadoni. One more segment here before handing it off to the morning roast. Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky, they're fired up. I can hear them right now. They're talking about NFL coaching changes. It's Black Monday. What's going to go on? We got Bob Myers getting hired by the Washington Commanders to, go help with their GM and head coach search. So Bob Myers goes from the NBA to the NFL. Just craziness going on there. What's going to go on? Antonio Pierce, we had Nick in San Jose calling. Are they going to retain him? Are they going to go after Harbaugh? Are the Chargers going to go after Harbaugh? There's a vacancy there. That's the one guy I forgot. Brandon Staley. How can I forget Brandon Staley? He had such great drops for us. Where's my Brandon Staley drops at? He'll always be a member of this show because of his sound alone. Oh, that's right. Sam moved all my stuff. Here we go.
You can stop asking that question. You don't have to ask that again.
Brandon Staley, are you ever going to be a head coach again?
You can stop asking that question. You don't have to ask that again.
Sorry. That's mean. Brandon Staley deserved to be catching strays this early in the morning. That's all right. Talking NFL, it's a Monster Monday. We've been talking a lot of Warriors, though, because that was just a horrible loss last night. The Niners game, in the grand scheme of things, is pretty damn insignificant. Although the biggest storyline to come out of there was your kicker, who you might not feel the most confident in heading into the playoffs. He's got a couple weeks to think about the misses he just had yesterday. That's the worst thing you could have for a kicker. And that's why you wanted Sam Darnold on that final drive. He ends up fumbling it away and they lose. But you wanted Sam Darnold to drive him down, so he gave Moody an opportunity, did a game-winning kick, so he's feeling great. If somehow they orchestrated a game-winning drive there and Moody had, even if it was a 30 or 40-yarder, and they got the job done, I'm feeling infinitely better about his chances in the playoffs. Now? Exactly. Vic, who is a prominent pre-gamer here on the YouTube chat and 95.7 The Game in general, he's always in the chat. And search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. Twitch and YouTube streaming all day long, Monday through Friday, right here on 95.7 The Game. Vic's out in Holland and wants to join in the conversation. What's going on, Vic?
Nothing much, man. Just figured I have to call him at least once and say thank you for doing the pregame. My work day ends at like 3 a.m., so I got so much respect for you coming in at 5 a.m. and bringing this kind of energy in. And I just want to say, as far as the Shanahan, I was where many Dubs fans are right now with Kerr, with Shanahan back in training camp. And I have to walk him back because that guy has done an incredible job this year. He's got a rookie kicker that he doesn't trust, and he's gotten the number one seed. He's got his quarterback off 10 months of recovery from the torn ligaments in his throwing elbow, kept him healthy, got him, second in the MVP race, third in the MVP race. They're going to win the Super Bowl, and Purdy's going to be the Super Bowl MVP, and I want to walk it back before that happens. So I apologize for Shanny, and as far as the Dubs fans that are ready to kind of be done with Kerr, my suggestion is be a little bit more classy about it. He might be done, but let's have a little respect for what he's done for this organization.
Absolutely. That's Vic out in Holland. I appreciate the call, Vic. Give Shanahan his flowers. He's been a hell of a coach. He's been one of, if not the top offensive mind in the game for the last few years now. He's on a short list of best coaches in the game of football. His offenses, you saw the stat yesterday. His offenses in their first drive of the game scored, how many was it? 9 touchdowns? Was it? They were scoring at a 68% clip, something like that. My math is off, I'm sure. But it was them, the 2020 Packers, and the 2007 Patriots that had the best opening drives each and every week in NFL history. That's pretty good company. I mean, specifically for that 07, anytime you're brought up with the 07 Patriots, yeah, that's great. Which I still contend is the greatest team of all time, even if they lost the Super Bowl. It's the greatest team I've ever seen. If you're watching it that year, you know what I'm talking about. If you're betting on the games, if you had fantasy football, if you had Tom Brady, Randy Moss, like Junior Seau was on that squad, just absolutely loaded. And until they weren't. David Tyree, rest is history. We all know that. Although, in today's game, Eli Manning would have been called down for a sack, and that play would have never happened. Crazy. I was rooting for the Patriots that day. I was. I wanted to see history. I wanted to be able to tell my kids I saw the greatest team of all time. I still say they are, but to see an undefeated team, unbelievable. I'm sure most of you were rooting against him, though. It's fine. It's easy to root against the best teams. Easy to root against Bama. It's easy to root against the Patriots all those years. I get it. Trust me. Do I get it? Shout out the Tuck Rule. 888-957-9570. Are you with Vic? Time to give Shanahan his flowers? Or are you like, wait till you win a Super Bowl before I give you my flowers? Because that's what it's all about. For a lot of Niners fans, it's, you know what? This is all well and good, but you better win a Super Bowl. Is that fair? Is it not fair? Well, I'm not here to tell you how to fan. That's not what I do. Lord knows I'm not the greatest fan with my teams, so I'm not going to tell you how to fan. But I think a lot of you are in Vic's boat, and then there's a lot of you, and also, what I just said. Win a damn Super Bowl. And this is your best year to do it. As we look at the NFC playoff picture, pulling it up here. So, we've got Packers, Rams, Eagles, Bucks, Lions, Cowboys, Niners. And shout out the Green Bay freaking Packers. Jordan Love. What's Love got to do with it? Whole hell of a lot. My goodness. I was not expecting that this season. I'm expecting some development, but Jordan Love, the young quarterbacks in this league, they're ready to take over now. CJ Stroud. Guy's an MVP candidate. He's not going to win it, but he's a legit MVP candidate. He missed some games due to concussion, but he looks like he's been in the league 10 years and is a future Hall of Famer. It's unbelievable. So here's the official wildcard schedule. Saturday, you got Browns-Texans. That's going to be 1:30 here Pacific time. These all be Pacific. I ain't doing the Eastern. I'm talking to you on the Pacific. I'll do Pacific time. PT, baby. So we got Browns-Texans. That'll be a hell of a matchup. Two great defenses. DeMeco Ryans, Kevin Stefanski, probably the coach of the year. What he has done this year with 4 quarterbacks, and now Joe Flacco's turning back the clock. And the Browns just kicked the Texans' ass recently, too. I believe that was in Houston. So, Texans, they got to feel a whole hell of a lot better this time around without their quarterbacks playing. Then you got Dolphins-Chiefs on Peacock at 5:15 this Saturday night. So the Dolphins reward for being one of the best teams and then, just fumbling the bag and fumbling the AFC East. Yesterday against the Bills, a date with Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. And what is supposed to be minus 10 degree weather, I'm hearing, Saturday night in Kansas City. Good luck, Tua. Good luck. I don't know if it'll be a great game. Give me the Chiefs, though. I'm you know me. I'm not betting against the Chiefs. I know they've been bad by Chiefs standards. Not great. I mean, they won the AFC West by the skin of their teeth. It took Russell Wilson getting benched, Justin Herbert out for the year, and then Jimmy Garoppolo getting benched. 2 head coaches fired in that division. It was just, just because I have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is why we're winning the division. That's why. That was the only reason. They have anyone competent in their division, they probably lose this division. But they didn't. They won it. and now they got a date with the Dolphins. I'm taking the Chiefs in that one. Sunday, you got Steelers-Bills, the 10 o'clock game, the early game. Take the Bills in that one. Is Mason Rudolph going to play in? No TJ Watt. That stinks. Grade 2 strain for his MCL. Wasn't grade 3, which is good news for TJ. That's a complete tear of the ligament. Then you got Packers-Cowboys, 1:30 on Fox. That should be fun. Again, Jordan Love. That could be... Packers can win that game. Packers can absolutely win that game. I know Cowboys are going to be heavy favorites, I'm sure, but don't sleep on Jordan Love in that defense, which is legit for Green Bay. Then you got the Rams-Lions. Again, that's the sexy matchup, right? Matt Stafford returning home. Lions had a home playoff game. First time in 30 years. I mean, can you write it better than that? Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams. Just, perfection. Sam Laporta probably going to miss that game, though, which stinks. Bone bruise for him, so they'll monitor that, I'm sure. He's a tough SOB, but, I mean, he's a rookie. You don't want to risk anything going forward. If there's nothing else to risk and it's just playing through pain, then he'll probably suit up. Then on Monday night, Eagles, Bucks. And that's another upset watch. I don't know what the line is on that game. I need to look it up. Bucks can win that game as well. Not saying they will, but the way the Eagles are playing right now, they're in shambles. Absolute shambles. What does that mean for the 49ers? Well, it means they get to kick their feet up and relax this week. And you get to do that as well, because the Morning Roast is up next on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. An Odyssey station.
Start your wellness journey at Whole Foods Market.